What motivated all the talk about expansion was the constant movement of Americans into territories that were under dispute as to who controlled them. The movement of Southerners into Texas brought Mexico and the United States to war, and as more and more Americans traveled to the Oregon Territory, war was a distinct possibility between the United States and England and/or Russia. Americans believed that they had every right to that territory and developed the slogan 5440 or fight to describe their desire to control not just all of Oregon, but also all of the territory north of that, including Alaska, up to the 5440 line of latitude. This attitude was put into words by John O Sullivan in 1845 when he announced that it was manifest destiny for the United States to annex Texas. This was a thought that the well-known newspaper columnist had begun to develop in 1839, but he did not use these words until 1845. He believed, as many did, that the Christian God had blessed the United States with, quote, liberty and federated self-government, end quote, and that it was the job of Americans to spread those values as far and as wide as they could. His thoughts about expansion of the United States were not new. As early as 1803 in the Louisiana Purchase, politicians such as John Quincy Adams developed the idea of continentalism, that the United States should work to take over all of North America. This is what drove the United States invasion of Canada during the War of 1812, influenced President Polk's decision to go to war with Mexico in the 1840s, and eventually the Spanish-American War toward the end of the 19th century. As more and more settlers traveled to Oregon, those that believed in manifest destiny thought it was only natural for the United States to rule that territory as well, and that territory extended all the way through Alaska, hence the idea of 5440 or fight. However, faced with the very real possibility of fighting 3 wars at the same time, Polk worked to negotiate a treaty with the English that fixed the border of the United States along the 49th parallel of latitude, simply an extension of an earlier treaty that had created the boundary between the United States and Canada from Maine to Minnesota. In 1854, all of the land that is currently part of the United States was completed when the Gadsden Purchase was bought from Mexico. This was bought to complete a southern branch of a transcontinental railroad to be built at some point in the future. Among many reporters of the time, there was the notion that with all of the land the United States had, all that had to happen to spread the American way of life was sending more people to populate the region. Of course, for people like Horace Greeley, a newspaper editor from the New York Tribune, the idea of go west, young man, and grow up with the country meant carrying the message of freedom, liberty, and anti-slavery to the new territories. This would cause conflict with the pro-slavery supporters trying to guarantee their way of life in the new territories and contributing to the general unrest in the country.